picture of the night now, who is Raffael degruttola.
Bravo.
I'm going to read some haiku. I'm not sure how many people are familiar with haiku. It's like butterflies. If you hear in your head, maybe you miss it. So I'll try to do it as slowly as I can. Can everybody hear me? I guess. A little bit about the haiku movement here in the United States, because I think probably a lot of people are not aware that the past, well, since about 1962 and 63, there's been a very vital haiku movement, both in the United States, Canada, especially, and I think it hasn't been given its due. There was 2 or 3 articles in the New York Times Book Review, some in March by Koa Van de Heuvel, who just finished the haiku anthology, which is a beautiful book, talking about how haiku really has been left alone. I think probably that's better than if the academics had gotten any part of it, because then maybe we wouldn't have as much of the beautiful haiku in English as we have, which is very different from the Japanese haiku. My first interest into it came when I had read a book by James Hackett called A Way of Haiku back in 1964, which also influenced a lot of the beat poets, Jack Kerouac, Snyder, Ginsberg. In fact, in Kerouac's Down the Buns and Desolate Angels, you get a lot of the haiku experience, and of course Jack wrote also a lot of haiku. And there's been a lot done since then. Thousands of books actually have come out in this country. The haiku in English is very different from the haiku in Japanese, in the sense that you don't count syllables as many people believe you do, because actually English sounds, to approximate the Japanese sounds, you need fewer syllables. In English, actually only about 12, where I think in Japanese what has been traditionally understood as 17 syllables. The feeling of haiku is very different than, I think, what you might get in Western poetry that moves very quickly through images. Haiku mostly deal with 1 or 2 images, pinpointing. They don't deal with a lot of syntax and grammar and things of that nature. So that there's a lot left for you to finish as the thought goes above. The first poem I'm going to read, though, is a poem called Ancient Music, which is really a Chinese poem that a Chinese friend gave me the English words for, and then I put it into a poem. And I'm only reading it from the point of view that there's a lot of the Japanese poets, actually, the greats, Basho and Busan and Isan, Kuchiki, learned a lot from the Chinese poets. And in fact, in a sense, the forms that developed in the 15th and 16th century in Japan actually came out of Chinese earlier forms. And I want to read one which I call Ancient Music, to show you the sort of ideogrammatic kind of feeling that comes, which then can, through fragments, which then come into, I think, later on in when I do the haiku. This is called Ancient Music. Spring flower, autumn moon, when is it going to stop? How many things in the past do you know? That little bungalow gets an eastern wind again last night. It's sad to look at the old country through the shining moon. The decorations, the remnants are still there. Only our faces change. Let me ask you, how much sorrow can you bear? It's like spring water flowing to the east. Okay, now I'm going to read some haiku. There's differences between haiku and senryu, which are very close, and some people make different distinctions between them. Haiku is very spiritual, includes a lot of nature, whereas the senryu gets into human nature, which has to do with a lot of experiences which are very personal, almost without interests of, well, yes, in some sense, interests of nature, but more human nature, I guess, than nature per se. And this is the discussion that goes on continually between the people who are dealing with haiku and senryu to find out just what's what and the distinctions. The spring thaw, a sparrow alone on the ice. To a mushroom, the elm leaf clings on its way down. In the ashes of the campfire smoke, the smell of dry leaves. If you want to hear another one, because they do go very quickly, just ask me and I'll read it again. Bird peeps on the park bench. The bag lady bags cans with the morning street cleaners. This actually was an image that I got from a friend of mine, Vincent Perini, in the letter that he sent me. And I thought it was a beautiful image, and I sent it back to him, and I said, Vincent, I've got a haiku for you now. And let me see what I did. Send it on. Globules of dew on the spider web sparkle, late autumn breeze. The winded chill of rain on old bones, spider in the sink. This next one was written after I read about, was a fellow, Walter Gonzalez, a Cape Verdean fellow that we've heard in the past, especially in the past couple of years, about how mendicants and beggars and so forth are left in doorways around the city in Boston and elsewhere. Mostly Boston is where I see them. And Walter died a couple of years ago. So to speak, at the Pine Street Inn. In the doorway, wrapped in yesterday's newspapers, the beggar. I don't think I have to explain where this next one is from, since we've had a lot of discussion about it. Floating upriver, the garbage barge with seagulls. I'm not sure if they ever found a place for that garbage barge, have it? I think it's Staten Island now or someplace. They finally found some place to let it stay.
Went back to where it came from.
Which was what, the Staten Island?
Long Island.
Long Island?